The world of online messaging and social media keeps on throwing up new and interesting things. I'm Shiv, and in this episode, let's explore a game changing app that could shake up the messaging world, Bitchat, the latest brainchild from Twitter co founder Jack Dorsey. From what I could gather online, it's not just another messaging app, it's a bold experiment in how we stay in touch when the internet disappears. No cell towers, no Wi Fi, no servers. Just pure device to device communication using Bluetooth. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real, it's here, and it has already raised curiosity and some serious questions about privacy, security, and the future of human communication. So, let's break down exactly what BitChat is, how this seemingly impossible technology actually works, and what infrastructure would need to exist for this to become mainstream. Imagine for a second that you are in a space where the cell network is spotty, say a Coldplay concert. Your phone can't connect to the internet, but you still need to communicate with people around you. Traditional messaging apps like WhatsApp, iMessage, or Telegram are completely useless. But with BitChat, you could still send encrypted messages to people nearby. And those messages could even reach people who are completely out of your immediate vicinity. In a white paper written by him, Jack Dorsey describes BitChat as a decentralized peer to peer messaging app that operates entirely over Bluetooth mesh networks. No internet required, no central servers, no phone numbers, no email addresses, nothing. Your phone becomes both a sender and a relay station, creating what's essentially a living, breathing network of connected devices. Big jargon alert. He calls the app a personal experiment in Bluetooth mesh networks, relays, and store and forward models, message encryption models, and a few other things. The core concept is actually quite elegant. Instead of your message traveling through cell towers and internet infrastructure to reach someone, it hops from device to device through a mesh network. Think of it like a game of telephone, but with high end encryption and intelligent routing. Your message might go from your phone to someone walking by, then to their friend across the street, then to someone in a coffee shop, and eventually reach its intended recipient couple of miles away. Each device in the chain acts as both a user and a relay point, creating a self healing, self expanding network that grows stronger as more people join. Interesting, right? And even if you think about the name, it's quite interesting too. I find Bitchat's name a little tongue in cheek. It could be read as Bitchat. This won't be an entirely wrong connotation. It's implicitly intended, I think. To better understand what Jack calls as his weekend project, I think it's important to untangle the mesh of tech that have led to creation of this app. I know. It will be all jargony and stuff, but this is where things get really interesting and really challenging. BitChat is built on Bluetooth low energy mesh networks, specifically using what's called managed flooding and message hops. The current version of the app uses standard Bluetooth with about a 30-meter range. The plan is to add Wi Fi Direct in future updates, which would dramatically increase both speed and range. The clever part of the app is that the app uses what's called a store and forward model. This means that if you send a message to someone who's not currently in the network, nearby devices will store that message and forward it once your intended recipient comes within the range. It's like having a distributed postal system running on everyone's smartphones. The messages are encrypted differently depending on whether they are private one on one messages, group chat rooms, or public broadcasts. The app supports optional group chats with hashtag names and password protection. As uh, as someone who remembers the early days of internet chat, this feature brought back memories of almost an IRC-like app. The system is designed to be completely anonymous, which sounds quite ambitious. There are no accounts, no identifiers tied to your real identity, no data collection. You exist in the network only as long as your device is active and participating. Looking at the underlying tech and features of BitChat, it seems that not much infrastructure is required for it to work at scale. This is because of the mesh network tech. The beautiful thing about mesh networks is that they are inherently decentralized. The infrastructure is the users. Every phone running BitChat becomes a node in the network. But there's a chicken and egg problem here. The network is only as strong as the number of people using it, and people will only use it if the network is strong enough to be reliable. In dense urban areas, this could actually work quite well. Imagine any major city where you have millions of people in a relatively small area. If even a small percentage of those people were running BitChat, you could have a robust mesh network covering the entire area. Messages could hop from device to device across the city, creating a parallel communication infrastructure that's completely independent of traditional telecom networks. But in rural areas or less populated regions, the story is different. With Bluetooth's 30-meter range, you'd need a much higher adoption rate to maintain network continuity. And you can expect Jack to have already thought of this problem. This is where the planned Wi Fi direct integration becomes crucial. It could extend the range significantly and make the network viable in less dense areas. There's also the battery life consideration. Mesh networking requires devices to constantly scan for other devices and relay messages, which could drain batteries faster than traditional messaging apps. The app would need to be extremely efficient to avoid becoming a battery vampire. Then there's the question of bridge devices. Bridge devices are nodes that link different mesh clusters, possibly over long distances or with various technologies. They could be placed in public spaces like coffee shops or libraries to expand the network. The most interesting possibility is integration with existing infrastructure. What if city governments or community organizations started deploying BitChat compatible bridge devices? You could have a hybrid network that's partially decentralized through user devices but augmented by strategic infrastructure placement. The communication approach BitChat seeks to popularize is novel but not new. Similar mesh messaging apps have been used in real world scenarios, most notably during Hong Kong's 2019 protests. Apps like BridgeFi and FireChat allowed protesters to communicate even when the government shut down the internet access or when cell towers were overloaded. During natural disasters, when traditional communication infrastructure fails, mesh networks can be lifesavers. Hurricane victims have used these apps to coordinate rescue efforts and find family members when cell towers were down. Mesh networking has also been used by the military for years. BridgeFi has been around since 2014 and has over 12 million users worldwide. They focus on making an SDK for other app developers to use instead of creating their own messaging app. This shows there's definitely market demand for offline communication solutions. What makes Bitchat potentially different is Jack Dorsey's track record and his focus on making it completely open source. The entire project is public domain, which means anyone can contribute to it, audit it, or build upon it. This could accelerate development and adoption in ways that proprietary solutions can't match. This brings me to the most crucial and potentially vulnerable aspect of the app. The app has not been reviewed for any major security issues. Jack Dorsey himself warned about this part on the GitHub page. One security concern that has been highlighted is that it might be possible to impersonate other users and trick people into thinking they are talking to legitimate contacts. People are also talking about concerns about the app's claims of forward secrecy, which is a method that keeps past messages secure even if your encryption key is exposed. There's also a risk of buffer overflow, which attackers could exploit to take control of devices using the app. Still, I would give due credit to Jack Dorsey for being transparent about these issues in public. But this raises a bigger question. How do you build trust in a decentralized system? With traditional messaging apps, you are trusting the company behind them. With Bitchat, you are trusting the open source community to identify and fix security issues. That's potentially more secure in the long run, but it requires a lot more technical sophistication from the users. Looking ahead, BitChat or apps like it are a clear indication that there is a white space in the world of online messaging and social media. And the fact that visionaries like Jack Dorsey are piecing together tech to come up with such platforms is admirable. Not only he co-founded Twitter, he has been the force behind development of Blue Sky and the AT protocol behind the decentralized social media platform. He has also been actively involved in development of Noster, which is a protocol for decentralized censorship resistant communication, enabling anyone to create and use social apps free from central control or moderation. He has also been an active supporter for Bitcoin and decentralized tech. BitChat then feels like the logical next step in this progression. If social media should be decentralized and if money should be decentralized, then why not messaging too? It clearly looks like a vision of a world where the most fundamental communication tools aren't controlled by big tech companies, governments, or any central authority. The technical challenges are significant and the security issues are real, but the potential is enormous. BitChat seems to gain prominence in a wide space where the ability to communicate with others isn't dependent on the profit motives of a few tech companies or the reliability of aging infrastructure. Thinking about all this and taking a few steps back, clearly there are bigger implications of this tech. How could mesh networking change the way we think about community? What would marketing and advertising look like in a world of decentralized communication? And could BitChat lead to a surge in offline first technologies? It does seem so. I think there is space for another episode on the emergence of offline tech, which might pave the way for a shift away from internet dependent communication. That's all for today's episode on BitChat and the fascinating world of offline mesh networking. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, where we'll dive into the marketing implications of this tech. Until next time, keep exploring.